Hello, and welcome to Dan's Objects of Interest. So, this is going to be an episode on one specific object, which was not the original idea. I actually originally planned to do an episode on Seinfeld books as kind of a follow-up to the Three Stooges books episode I did, several months ago now. Probably longer ago than I think it was, even. And I still might do the Seinfeld books episode, but while looking through the Seinfeld books I found this, and I thought this might actually be interesting enough to warrant its own little episode. This is the OnTV TV paper that came in the Albany Times-Union, which was my local paper growing up. And this is from the week of the Seinfeld finale. So May 10th through 16th, 1998. This was something I guess I just hung on to from that memorable finale. I stuck it in a box of stuff that ended up in my mom's garage. And then I found it a few years ago while I was going through some of that stuff, and I kind of added it to my little section of Seinfeld books on my bookshelf that has my movie books and TV books and things like that. So yeah, again, an interesting thing to have hung on to all these years. You can certainly see the newsprint is kind of yellowing a little bit here. But yeah, I thought this would be kind of interesting to go through a little bit. Probably not read any of the articles in too much detail. Yeah, I'm sure especially the ads and things like that will probably have some interesting, certainly for me personally, nostalgic value to them. So, yeah, we'll check it out. So, of course, the biggest story on TV this particular week in 1998 was indeed the finale of Seinfeld. And as we'll see in the article that this guide has in it, they were keeping it heavily under wraps. They hadn't released really any details as to what the plot would be or what guest stars might appear. Many would argue they should have kept it under wraps, but be that as it may. Yeah, as far as the finale goes, just while we're on the subject, I watched through the whole series, and I watch episodes piecemeal all the time, but I watched through the entire series again, maybe a year or so ago. Year and a half started it, probably finished it a year ago. I didn't actually hate the finale as much as I thought I did, or as much as I used to. I still think it's a bad finale for the series and a bad Seinfeld episode. I always was of the opinion that it should have just ended with a regular episode that didn't even acknowledge that it was a finale. The show was all about kind of bucking TV norms, even having kind of a theme song that was meant to be antithetical to the traditional, at that time, sitcom theme music. So, yeah, why do that whole big, overblown, all-star TV finale for it? Why not just do a regular episode and have it end that way? That's what I always thought they should have done. But at any rate, the last time I saw the finale, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I did. Again, not a good Seinfeld episode, but it had some decent laughs in it. I guess if you view it as kind of a fan fiction, almost a fan fiction kind of thing, or a non-canon episode or reunion show or something like that, if you kind of view it that way, it's not so bad. But yeah, I didn't mind watching it as sort of in and of itself. It's not good in the context of the series, but in and of itself, certainly not the worst comedy show I've ever seen. Love the rest of the series, of course. It's one of my all-time favorite shows. I've said this often, but the three things that have really been formative to my entire sense of humor, warped as it may be, in order, are the Three Stooges, which is where probably my appreciation for wordplay and the kind of general silliness comes from. Then Ren and Stimpy, which is where my appreciation for absurdism and probably some of the darkness my sense of humor comes from as well. Ren and Stimpy actually had some pretty dark stuff, like especially the space episodes, which I think every single space episode they did, they died at the end of. Yeah. Um, if you don't know what happened to or not even what happened to, but what was revealed about John Kricfalusi, the creator of Ren and Stimpy, well, we don't need to go into that here. Not such a good guy, it turns out, but it was a great show. At least the original run of Ren and Stimpy was a great show. Less said about the adult cartoon party, the better also. But yeah, Ren and Stimpy also formative. And then Seinfeld was the third most formative, which is where my kind of the dryness, the sarcasm, a lot of that kind of stuff in my sense of humor comes from. So yeah, anyway, let's check this out. And again, this is not all going to be about Seinfeld. In fact, the article for it is actually pretty short right here. They basically got articles like this for this TV paper from Tribune Media Services, so it's not an original piece from the Albany Times-Union. And it's really kind of a broad article. If you want to pause and zoom in or anything, I'll hold it still here. So you can hopefully read that if you so desire. But yeah, there's not really much of anything said about the finale at all because they weren't letting the details out ahead of time. But yeah, it was something to kind of drum up interest. They also always had a little trivia thing at the bottom of the page. That's Nicholas Turturro. He's the brother of John Turturro and Aida Turturro from, in John's case, movies like Miller's Crossing and Barton Fink, and Aida, of course, was just Janice on The Sopranos. Both of them went to the same college I went to, not at the same time, of course. I don't know if Nicholas did also, but yeah, anyway. There's a little trivia thing. It looks like the miniseries Witness to the Mob was on this week, so it has just kind of questions about mob movies and stuff like that. We also had the Daytime Emmys this week, so there's a little thing about that, and it tells the nominees. As far as ads go, this guy was around on TV a lot, Justin Resnick. He sold mattresses, and his commercials, I'll have to see if any of them are on YouTube. His commercials were kind of classic. Just sort of the stereotypical low-budget local commercials. There was one where he was like driving a mattress down the road as if it were a car, and it had like a really bad green screen effect behind it, stuff like that. But yeah, he was on the local channels like probably at least once per time slot. I used to see him a lot. I don't know, I guess he's maybe not around anymore, just because I haven't heard about him, but I don't know that for sure. Let's see, sports listings, Sunday tipster. They had a tipster for every day of the week in this paper that would kind of give you suggestions of what to watch. We have a little Marissa Tomei thing going. Yeah, her and Rob Morrow in a CBS miniseries there. There's an ad for the syndication of Seinfeld on Fox 23, which is, I started watching it probably around season, let's see, it was on for 9 seasons. I probably started watching it around the time that it was in season 7, maybe. There was at least a block of time that I saw the episodes, like, when they actually premiered. And it was more than the last season. It was probably at least the last 2 seasons, maybe part of season 7 even, season 8 and season 9. But a lot of the episodes I saw from previous to that, I saw for the first time on Fox 23, which had the syndication of it. And this was their slogan at the time, "It's what to watch." I still remember how it goes. Yeah, Fox 23, they had a guy named Ranger Danger as their kids host when I was even younger, when I was in elementary school. And you can find some of, he was a radio guy, like, by day, and Uncle Vito, he went by on the radio. And I think He had or has a YouTube channel. Hopefully it's still up. I'll have to check on it. But yeah, he had a lot of his Ranger Danger skits on YouTube to check out. Great stuff. He was kind of last of a dying breed as far as like the local kids TV host. And Ranger Danger was also the first celebrity I ever met. He did like a signing thing at Crossgates Mall in Albany. And I'll have to see if I can find it, but somewhere I still actually have my autographed. It was like a Xerox. It wasn't like a real 8x10. It was like a Xerox of an ad for Fox 23 with him on it that he was signing. But yeah, I still have my Ranger Danger autograph. Yeah, I need to find that. But yeah, he was like the first celebrity that I met. It was kind of mind-blowing at the time. Anyway, let's see what else. So here we have the actual TV listings. So this was, again, kind of like TV Guide, but it was, the local TV lineup and everything. They even had the pay channels, which included, at this point, Disney Channel was still actually a pay channel, which I do remember that. Yeah, Encore Flix. I don't think Flix is around anymore. There were 3 HBOs, 2 Cinemaxes, Showtime, Stars. I don't remember the movie channel. Oh no, I'm thinking of, yeah, I guess I'm thinking of TCM. Turner Classic Movies, yeah, that was on free TV. Yeah, the movie channel, that was another pay channel. Did that turn into? No, it didn't. AMC already existed, and AMC was kind of like TCM at the time. It kind of became like a sort of prestige television series channel with Mad Men and Breaking Bad and those shows later on. But yeah, originally it was like a classic movie channel, just like TCM was. Speaking of TCM, they had Manhattan Melodrama, which is famously the movie that John Dillinger saw before coming out of the movie theater and then being shot. So yeah, that was the last movie John Dillinger saw. It was running on TCM. The original King Kong. Yeah, that's a good lineup right there. So that's Sunday afternoon. Then they had Sunday primetime, and for some reason, like the late night, they called, I always remember this, they called the late night listings Night Owl. Yeah, Hunt for Red October was on TBS with Sean Connery's Russian accent that sounded just like his regular accent. There's more of the Sunday Tipster, which again was just kind of like suggestions of what to watch. Something about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was on already in 98? Well, I guess so. It says right here, launched in March 97. Wow, I was thinking that was more, well, not recent, but a little more recent than that, but I guess not. I wasn't like a huge Buffy fan. I've not seen all of the episodes or anything, but what I have seen was pretty good, I thought. Stories, they always had these like ads for like actual stories on the local channels too, like just kind of previewing upcoming stories they would do. So here's something about herbal healing. Is it right for you? This was CBS 6, by the way, WRGB, which is one of the oldest, it might even be the oldest TV station in the country. Unfortunately, it's part of Sinclair Broadcasting now, but yeah, it goes back to like the late 1920s as like an experimental early TV station. So yeah, CBS 6, definitely one of the legacy channel call signs, WRGB. Oh my God, look how young John Gray was. Yeah, he might even still be on. I'm not sure. I don't have, I'm not even in the Albany area anymore. And my mom's, who does still live up there, not in Albany, but in the Albany general region. She actually is a cord cutter now too. She got rid of cable. So, I could ask her, but I don't know if she would know if he's still on. But yeah, John Gray, he is either still on now or at least was on for years and years. Definitely doesn't look this young anymore. Let's see what else. Good Morning America. There's the news, ABC News 10 anchor lineup. I remember all of them. Steve Caparizzo, the weather guy, I think he's still on. So here's Monday. Let's see what was on wrestling that week. Sometimes they would actually have like a lineup. Oh, there's Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince, also the voice of Shredder on the original Ninja Turtles cartoon. Yeah, let's see what was on wrestling. They sometimes they would actually have, like, in the little box, they would put like a couple of wrestler names that were supposedly on, and it was always wildly outdated or incorrect or whatever. So we have Monday Nitro. Apparently part of Nitro was preempted by basketball that night. There's like an hour of it on at 7. And it lists Larry Zbyszko. How many times did he even wrestle on Nitro? Few, if any. He was a commentator on Nitro. I guess he did have that like kind of brief feud with Scott Hall after the NWO formation. That was, what was that, around World War III and Starrcade in 97, I think. But yeah, he had a few, if any, matches, but for some reason he's listed as the featured player. Then USA Raw was on. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. They, for some reason, the 2 hours of Raw, and it was only 2 hours then, for some reason each hour was counted in like all the listings as its own show. So it was Raw at 9 o'clock, and then at 10 o'clock was Warzone, which was just the second hour of Raw. I never quite understood that. I'm sure there's some reason for it. Oh, and then Silk Stockings was on after it. I never saw that show, but I remember during Raw, you would always see the commercials for Silk Stockings and what else? La Femme Nikita. That was a common commercial. Anyway, so yeah, here's the Tuesday Tipster story about shopping cart rage with Ed O'Brien on Channel 6. Ed O'Brien, he was around for years and years too. He always seemed like he was probably a really nice guy. He passed away a few years ago, but yeah, I always liked Ed O'Brien on Channel 6 News. I remember actually one time him and Tom, I can't remember Tom's last name offhand, but the weatherman, they got to interview, I think they interviewed the Headbangers when the WWF came to at the time it was called the Pepsi Arena, what's now called the MVP Arena in Albany. But yeah, they had the Headbangers on that they interviewed, and then another time they actually got Stone Cold on the local news, and I remember how excited Tom and Ed were to interview Stone Cold Steve Austin. So yeah, wonder if those videos are anywhere. Speaking of Ranger Danger, the kids host on Fox 23, I'm pretty sure it is on his YouTube channel. Ranger Danger actually did a bit with The Undertaker in like the early 90s. And like Undertaker clunks Ranger Danger on the head, and it actually makes like the Three Stooges clunk sound effect. So yeah, really good stuff there. Ed O'Brien, I miss him. He was a good newsman. There's the channel 10, the ABC news lineup. I think that's the same Seinfeld syndication ad there. So up to Tuesday night, News Radio made the tipster. Regardless of what may have happened to some of the cast members in years since, that was always a good show. I enjoyed News Radio quite a bit. Certainly when Phil Hartman was on. He was always great. I was always a fan of John Lovitz, who kind of, not really replaced, but kind of joined the show after, well, what happened to Phil Hartman happened. Yeah, I always liked John Lovitz in and of himself. Good for you, Jack. Let's see, Home Improvement was still on it this time. Well, here we have the ad for the actual finale of Seinfeld on Thursday night. Wednesday night, 6 and 11, it was listed. That must have been the clip show, I'm guessing. The second to last episode, which was actually a clip show. It's kind of weird. The last like bunch of episodes of Seinfeld, there was The Maid, which was the last episode that the Jerry's apartment set appeared in. That was the fourth from last episode. Then there was the controversial Puerto Rican Day episode, which was kind of the last regular episode, but did not have the apartment set, and I actually don't think it had the coffee shop set in it either. So yeah, The Maid must have been the last appearance for both of those. So yeah, there was The Maid, the Puerto Rican Day, then there was the two-part clip show, which famously had the montage set to Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day. Then, of course, the finale itself was the last episode. Anyway, I was going to say they actually put Staying Alive in the tipster, but yeah, it's something totally different. It's actually a Consumer Reports special on car safety, apparently not the terrible sequel to Saturday Night Fever. Saturday Night Fever is a great movie, but the sequel, Staying Alive, is not. But that's not what they're talking about here. Let's see. Grandma's Country Restaurant on Central Avenue in Albany. I definitely remember going there at least a couple of times with my mom, my aunt, and I think my actual grandma was there too. Yeah, I don't remember what kind of menu they had. I think it was just kind of standard, like, American fare. But yeah, I remember going there, and I think I was reading, like, while we were waiting for the food, I think I was reading the Nintendo Power that had the preview for Final Fantasy III on Super Nintendo, which, of course, is actually Final Fantasy VI, and I was so hyped to get that game. And I did get that game, and it was incredible. It's one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, I remember reading that preview, and I'm pretty sure it was at Grandma's Country Restaurant. I'm sure that's long gone now. There was another one. I don't know if there's probably not an ad for it in here, but there was also a pizza restaurant called Bruno's in Albany, which had several memorable things. First, like, all of their menus were like old record album covers. Like, basically they had gatefold covers, and you would open it up and the menu was inside. They also did wood-fired pizza, and it had not an open kitchen, but it had like a window looking into the kitchen. And I remember seeing it must have been somebody getting trained. He like was tossing the pizza dough up in the air, and he got it stuck to the ceiling. And you could see it was all in pantomime because it was behind the window. You couldn't hear anything, but like you could see him like wave. I assume it was like the head chef or his supervisor anyway over, and you see him like pointing up at the ceiling, and the guy starts yelling at him. And then they got like a pizza peel and scraped it down. I don't know if it was the same time or a different time we went to Bruno's Pizza, but they had these hard rolls, and they were so hard and crusty. I remember biting into one, and I actually broke my braces, so I had to go to the orthodontist and get my braces fixed. And then another time, it was near I don't remember which hotel it was near in Albany, but I remember seeing Willie Nelson's tour bus parked at the hotel next to Bruno's Pizza. I don't know if Willie ever went into the restaurant or not, but so his tour bus anyway. So that's a real tangent, but yeah, old Albany restaurants of times past nonetheless. Bruno's Pizza and Grandma's Country Restaurant. Thursday, hey, Mr. Nanny is on, starring Hulk Hogan. Terrible movie, but I would say the fun kind of terrible. What channel was that on? TBS, that makes sense. Let's see. Nothing too interesting on Thursday night. TBS had WCW Thunder, and I don't remember them doing that. They did the same thing that they did with Raw, where each hour of Thunder was its own show or time slot for some reason. Up to Friday. Nothing too interesting here. Custom slip covers for, I guess, your pillows there, or couch cushions or whatever. PBS, WMHT, yeah, that's PBS. They were showing Metropolis, Fritz Lang's Metropolis. That's, I don't really remember them doing movies, even silent movies on PBS. That's pretty cool. Terminator 2 is on Channel 11. That was the New York station. They only gave Terminator 2 3 stars? Come on, man. And somehow Porky's got 2 stars? I think they just assigned these, some of these at random. I don't know, some of these star ratings. Oh, come on. Night of the Living Dead is 1 star, and Porky's has 2 for some reason. They were, oh, maybe that was the remake. It has an R rating. I don't think the original Night of the Living Dead had a MPAA rating. This has an R, so maybe this was the remake. That could explain. I've never seen the remake, but that could explain the 1 star. But yeah, if it is the original, you really can't justify 1 star for that and 2 for Porky's. High School High, speaking of John Lovitz. I thought that one was funny. They didn't even give that one a star. Yeah, some channels during the Night Owl listings, some of them just went off the air entirely back then still. Actually, let's go back to Thursday. Let's see what was running against the Seinfeld finale. So Seinfeld was 9 o'clock, was it? Oh, this is Friday. Sorry. A couple more pages back. So it's Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, Thursday prime time. Here we go. So yeah, we have Seinfeld. Oh no, the clip show was not on. So what was on Wednesday then? Yeah, now that I see that, I do remember that the clip show, which was technically the second to last episode, that was actually aired at the same time. Not at the same time, but it was aired before the actual finale episode. Yeah, this doesn't have Seinfeld listed at all on Wednesday, even though it was in that ad, wasn't it? Where was that? There it is. Yeah, Wednesday 6 and 11. Oh, that must have just been reruns. Let's go back to Wednesday again. So Wednesday 6 o'clock. That was a news slot. Yeah, I don't know what they were talking about there. Oh well. Anyway. So we're up to Saturday, and this will be the last day in the book anyway. Hey, Spaceballs. This would be Spaceballs, the listing, right? Back to school. An earthy self-made man joins son at college. An earthy self-made man. That's a great description of Rodney Dangerfield, isn't it? Oh, and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey was on right after it. So then there's the movie listings here, which basically it's just alphabetical order, and then it tells you what channel it was on, and they gave it their own star ratings. Oh, incidentally, there's a crossword here, which I might, I'm not going to fill it out in the book. I'm going to keep this as it is, but this looks like it might be a decent crossword. I see some clues I know already, so yeah, I might scan this and print it out and actually solve it. So, yeah, Beavis and Butthead Do America was on HBO. Basquiat was on. Barton Fink, starring John Turturro, speaking of him. New Paltz's Own, just like me. Yeah, I remember like a lot of times just idly reading through the like little movie blurbs. Cop and a Half, I remember that one with Burt Reynolds and a little kid. Uh, huh. Interestingly, Godfather and Godfather 2 were on Flicks, and then Godfather 3 was on HBO. You would have thought they would all be on the same channel. Um, they only gave The Elephant Man 3 stars. Come on, that's easily a 4-star. Oddly enough, I don't see A Million to One playing on anything. That like almost every week I remember A Million to One was on some channel and listed back in this section. And there's the like actual channel lineup thing at the end. Oh, I forgot about VCR Plus. That was what was that like? You instead of like setting the timer, you could just put in like a code for a show. That's probably what the on the listings. That's probably what the these numbers were. Like you just put in that code, and the VCR would tape it for you without having to bother setting in the timer or anything. I know I had a VCR that had that, and I never used it. I just used the regular timer. Um, then at one point, I had the 2 VCR setup where you could tape from one onto the other, and that was always fun, if perhaps slightly illicit. Um, and I actually do have a VCR now. I actually got to a point where my last VCR, I had like a cheapo. I had 2 VCRs, like through college still. One was like an old one of my mom's that had actually survived a lightning strike. It was one of the like handful of electronics that survived a lightning strike that we had. And I think it had fallen off the shelf at some point because like the whole faceplate was off. And the brand was Samtron, which I don't know what that was. Like all the components inside were Samsung, but yeah, the actual thing before losing the faceplate at least, it was a Samtron brand. But that VCR lasted forever, and that was for one with such a like off-brand name on the front. It actually was a really good one. So I had that, and then I had like a cheap $20 Magnavox that I bought at Best Buy. It was probably the last VCR they had in stock. I had those 2 linked together, and I don't remember which one died first, but eventually both of them died off. But I bought a Sony one from 1996 on eBay a few years ago. I think I only paid like $25 plus shipping for it. And it's a really good one. Like you could tell, it was a top of the line VCR in its day. And it has the remote for it has a thumbstick for like play, pause, stop, fast forward, and rewind. It actually has a thumbstick for those, which is such a great idea. Why don't they use that for anything now? I don't know. Anyway, there's the whole TV lineup. TV Land had actually spun off from Nickelodeon at that point. TV Land was like the Nick at Night spin-off, as I recall. And then you had Boomer McLeod, which was, I guess that was like the car audio section of Car Essentials. I think that's how that worked anyway. I don't think is Car Essentials still around? That I don't know. I don't think they use the Boomer McLeod name anymore for their audio section at any rate. That actually sounds like it should have been a show, like what was it, Shasta McNasty? I don't remember seeing the show itself, but I remember that title. That kind of sounds like that would be Shasta McNasty's neighbor or something. I don't know. Yeah, so anyway, that was my local TV paper from the week of May 10th, 1998, the week of the famous or infamous Seinfeld finale. So, as Kramer would say, there you go, monkey boy. Yeah, this was kind of fun, interesting. I'm glad I did this as its own standalone because there was enough sort of springboards for reminiscences here to get a good half hour out of. So yeah, at some point I think I will still do the Seinfeld books episode that I was originally planning this for. But yeah, this was fun for now. So yeah, we'll see you again. On your way out, make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button if you haven't already. But the likes and subscribes always help. In fact, I suppose compared to other channels, this isn't much of a milestone, but I am up to 100 subscribers as of the last time I checked. So thank you for everyone who is watching and who has subscribed. Definitely appreciate that. And yeah, again, please do subscribe if you haven't. I don't know if I'll do the Seinfeld books thing next, but I do have a couple of other things I would like to do. I definitely want to do a board game episode very soon. Probably a white knuckle scoring, a video game let's play video. I would like to do, I have a game in mind for the next one of those, so I just need to actually sit down and play it. Everything. So, yeah, we'll see you again.